Hello everyone, so I want to show you exactly how much gold you can make while farming Mythic Warlords of Draenor dungeons. Now, I'll be going through a couple of dungeons here. I have a clean slate, my bags are completely empty, and I have 0 copper, I have 0 gold, 0 silver, exactly no money on me. And I'll be going through these dungeons to show you exactly how much you can make. Now this is the first dungeon I've chosen, which is Akadon. It's going to be over here on Draenor, of course, much like all the other dungeons I'll show you today. It's going to be in Talador, kind of on the bottom left hand side of the map, of course out here on Draenor. And let's go ahead and get started on this dungeon. But before I do that, first I want to show you my character's item level, which is item level 915 and of course level 110, just to give you a reference of exactly what my character is. Now, at the end of the video, I will be doing a recap to show you exactly how much gold I made everywhere and the amount of time I spent. Now, if you take a look at the top right, you will see the clock there. I started this dungeon at 10:58, so just keep an eye on that. So when I get to the last boss, you can see exactly how long it took me. Now, when I'm going through these dungeons, I'll kind of follow a certain format. Like for the first few here, I'm just going to kind of skip right to the end. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to skip right to the bosses and just skip any trash mobs that are in the way. But of course, there will always be some kind of required mob, like the one right here, that you have to kill in order to be able to fight the boss. So just recapping on what I said, I'm skipping the trash mobs, only killing the mobs that I have to. And of course, I'm killing the bosses and looting everything that they have, their gold and their loot. And as you see, it's personal loot, so very specific to your class, and usually get 1 item to drop here. So it may not seem like a lot of stuff is dropping, but if you notice that the value on each of these items can be quite high, of course depending on what exactly drops. Like of course weapons are worth more than armor pieces and other stuff like that. Of course, like belts and wrist items are going to be less valuable than trinkets and such. Like this one's worth 36 gold alone, which is pretty good. Now, if you're keeping an eye on the time, you'll see it's 11:02, and this boss is going to go down really quickly. There he goes down, and that is going to be the completion of this dungeon in less than 5 minutes, in 4 minutes. And I get the 61 gold bonus for completing the objective. You should get that for each dungeon you complete, as long as you kill every boss, of course, which that's what you kind of have to do. But now let's go ahead and cash in on this gold to see exactly how much we made. So I'm over here with the repair vendor, and as you can see, I looted 144. That's just from looting the bosses and the mobs alone. And now I'm gonna go ahead and sell these items and give you the total for this first dungeon. Let's see here, after selling everything, it does go quite high after selling. It hits 361 gold minus repair costs and travel. Let's just say 360 gold in 4 minutes. So I recommend doing this place. Really quick run, really easy to do. Now we're moving on to the next dungeon, which is called Sky Reach. Of course, it's located in the spires of Arak on the left hand side. So the west side of the map, close to Axfall. You can fly there if you're Horde, of course. I'm not sure about the Alliance one, but it's in that area. And yeah, again, clean slate, empty bags. But I do have a couple of gold here just for, money just to fly around, because last time I had to travel here by mount, and that did take a long time. This is a pretty nice dungeon because it's pretty much linear compared to the other one, because you get to the end and then yeah, that's it. The only thing is, when you're leaving here, you have to kind of walk back, which kind of sucks. But it's a really short dungeon, so it shouldn't take too much time to walk through this place, especially with speed enhancing abilities, which I'm sure most classes have. And of course, I have a video based around the idea of how to efficiently farm dungeons and raids, so I'll go ahead and link that in the description. I make a bunch of good points on how to quickly go in and out of a dungeon and save as much as time as possible. And for these first dungeons, like I said, I'm only doing the mobs that I have to kill and the bosses, and I'm just doing this for perspective to show you how much money you can make if you really just running and gunning. You just want to go in and go out in the shortest amount of time possible. I want to show you exactly how much gold you can get if you do that. And of course, in the next video, I'll change it up a little bit where I'll try to kill more mobs. And then the last one, I will kill everything in the dungeon. Just kind of give you a reference. Now here we are at the repair vendor again, giving you a total of 120 after looting everything and now after selling. And of course, with the repair costs and along with travel costs, I'm going to round it down to about 226 gold. And about, that one was 4 minutes as well. The first two were 4 minutes. Now here's the next dungeon. It's going to be the Iron Docks, the top part of Gorgrun. Just have a little bit of flight money and I have empty bags just as usual. Now this one is where I change it up just a little bit. This one, at first I just went for all the bosses here, just killing them and anything else in the way. And of course, you know, it has a good amount of gold. It does add up. But I've noticed when I finished the dungeon and I went back, I decided to pull a lot of mobs just to see how much of a difference it makes. I do have to say it did make a real big difference, especially in this dungeon because it is much larger than the other ones in terms of the amount of enemies that are located in this dungeon, which of course means, you know, the more mobs in the dungeon, the more gold and the more items that are dropped, which of course you connect those two together means that you'll be making more money that way. But it does take a little bit more time than usual. So here's one of the pulls I did. It's not everything, but it's a pretty big chunk, as you can see here. Right before this, I actually did pull everything, but I happened to die because this is mythic mode, right? And they're all level 100 and up. And when they're all hitting you, your health can go down really quickly. So I did die there, and that does cost me a lot of gold and repair costs because, you know, high level gear is pretty expensive to repair. But from this mob alone was 43 gold, which is crazy. So I'm back here, you can see I'm at 217 gold just from looting. That's almost 100 gold more than usual. When compared to just killing the bosses, about 100 more gold. And plus items, I'm at 468 gold. But like I said, I did die, so I'm going to subtract this with the repair costs and also the flight time. And I'll kind of round it down a little bit just to calculate it some more. It's going to go down a lot, so I'm going to say about 420 gold is how much I got from that run. Here's the next one, Grimrail Depot. It's also in Gorgrun. It's under Blackrock Foundry, and I do have the 418 that I said was 420 just because I didn't have a mailbox to mail it to another character, so I just subtract that from this one to get a specific total for this dungeon. But of course I will have the recap later on. And just for the sake of time, I skipped the whole dungeon, just went to the last boss. And this one took 5 minutes to complete. No, this one was actually 6 minutes. And it's very linear, so it's easy to go through. And I killed all the mobs here and all the bosses. And you see the exit is right here at the end, which is very helpful. And you see the totals at 560. And then selling all this stuff, it goes to about 653 gold. And now for the recap, for the total calculations, I made about 1239 gold in less than 25 minutes. The first dungeon, I made 360 gold in 4 minutes. Then I made 226 gold in 4 minutes. I made 419 gold in about 5-6 minutes. And then 234 gold in about 5 minutes as well. Maybe 6 minutes. So that's the total. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.